my friend, we have a match.
We did it.
We have a match.
It's honorable mention, but
my honorable mention for 2011 is
so 2011. It's a quieter year for pop overall, specifically because, like I said, it's riding the downfall of 2010.
Yeah.
I think it's still quite a top heavy year. So we had stuff like Grenade came out,
Right.
is charting that year. Super Bass by Nicki Minaj, Rolling in the Deep, obviously. Moves Like Jagger.
Yep.
Stereo Hearts was also 2011, I think. Yeah, charting like that. So yeah, a bit of a quieter year for pop and quite top heavy as well. Like you don't get a lot of memorable, impactful albums after the top 10 or 20. Right?
Yeah.
So that year, 21 by Adele takes the number one spot for album of the year, as anything Adele releases should. And it was very tempted to put this as a choice, but I feel like, at least a disclaimer for myself, it was very hard to put that I was very hard to not put that as a choice, but I didn't, simply because it should be implied, because 21 was definitely one of the greatest albums released. Okay. So that's just a disclaimer for myself.
Okay.
So honorable song mention of the year. Honorable song of the year.
My 2011 honorable song. I had a hard time with this one, I'll be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
Like this one is tough. You had, like what you said, you had Rolling the Deep. You have Party Rock Anthem. You have Price Tag. You know what I mean? You have all these different. You have all these like different songs, right? By honorable mention, though, we'll go to For the First Time by The Script. It ended the year number 66. I remember this. It was just my entrance into sad songs. You know,
really? I didn't think the script would do it for you, but I guess whatever.
It did. Like I hadn't gone through a heartbreak yet, but for some reason, that song hit me. And like I was tempted to put this in my honorable mention, because you have hits like For the First Time, Nothing, If You Ever Come Back. Like those were songs that to me meant stuff, and I kept listening to them, but I didn't put them in my honorable mention. But I'll keep it as a song. What's your honorable mention, though?
So my honorable mention for 2011 is actually Party Rock Anthem.
Oh my God!
It's actually Party Rock Anthem. So we were close. That song, I like Lady Gaga's Bad Romance. That followed me like the plague. That song, and it started a kind of a generational cultural sort of trend, where kind of different from Bad Romance, where like everyone just loved the song, right?
Yeah.
But Party Rock Anthem, people were dancing to it. They were taking, what was that? The shuffle? Is that the shuffle? That's the shuffling.
It is the shuffling.
Yeah, the shuffle. Yep. The shuffle. Yeah, that's what it's called. Yeah, people were shuffling to it. Yeah, iconic like dance move that caught paired with this song, which is not something that happens very often. I'm sure you can make it more often
now because of TikTok.
You can make a case. Yeah, that's true.
It's like, really, like that was a huge hit. I remember.
Yeah, there's only a couple of songs that kind of did that back then, which I'll get to later. But it started a trend in so many different ways for that particular culture, which is why it got my honorable mention. The impact on, at least on my age group, was quite significant, for sure.
I remember that everyone was dancing to that song. That was fun.
Yeah, it was a fun era. It was
very fun.
And because you started last time, I will start with the song of the year.
Go ahead.
So my song of the year, and this was also it was difficult, but not really.
Okay.
And I'll explain it a bit. But anyway, my song of the year is Pumped Up Kicks by Foster the People.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Back then, this type of indie rockish style was not trendy. It wasn't the thing yet. It's much more trendy now, but it is just not the thing yet. And it wouldn't be a thing for a while.
If they released that song today, would it be called indie?
Yeah, I still think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's another topic. Anyway, that's another topic of discussion. But regardless, that song, actually the album that was released with the song, but that song in particular was not only extremely popular. People were listening to Pumped Up Kicks again quite heavily. It was played on radio. Right. I quite like the song. I think it's a really, really good song as well. It's fun. It's got sort of it's an eerie message without being eerie, which I think is kind of tricky.
I didn't realize it until years on, like years later. Yeah.
And I think that's a very masterful, tricky thing to do with music, where you disconnect the message completely from the feel. Right. It's very interesting in that regard.
Yeah.
But again, the main reason why I picked it for song of the year is because literally this charted in 2011, and no music in that particular vein would chart for a long time, and no music in that particular vein charted a long time before it. So it was a very outlier. It was a huge outlier in terms of the past decade, and I respect that a lot, especially because of how much traffic and popularity it generated, and it introduced, at least to me, it was my gateway for that type of music, and I was much more susceptible and open to listening to music of that style because of this particular song. So that's why it's my song of the year.
That's a good choice. I wouldn't say it had the most impact on me, but it definitely does hold up because people remember that song.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those, people talk about it till today. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Sometimes I'll see a conversation on Twitter, and then someone would ask, "What's the most misunderstood lyric?" And then people are saying like "Pumped Up Kicks." You know what I mean? It's still a talking point.
It's such a masterfully crafted like deception.
Yeah,
I think
for sure, because it sounds so fun. You know what I mean? It sounds like have a good time,
kind of laid back. Yeah, kind of laid back, just chilling, having a good time.
And then like you're on a road trip. You know, you're with your friends. Mm-hmm. You're driving down the road. Oh yeah, like that. But it's masterful. All right, I'm gonna go with my.
All right, song of the year, 2011.
2011 song of the year. This one was kind of easy for me.
Okay.
Firework by Katy Perry.
Okay.
Gets my number one spot for 2011. Katy comes out.
Number 3, right?
I believe so. Let me check. Yes, number 3. So it's Rolling the Deep, number 1. Party Rock Anthem, number 2. Firework, number 3. I was not sure if I wanted to put her on here because it's not my favorite song. But when I think about 2011, I remember this song. Or if I listen to this song again, I have memories of that year. Like, it's just so strong. So I'm just like, yep, it's got to be here. We have Katy Perry. It's honestly one of my favorite Katy Perry songs ever.
Okay.
So, just her with her. I mean, California Girls is good. You know what I mean? You have your Snoop Dogg. But this one, just like, it was in my head for the longest time. It was in the mall every day. And I just heard it everywhere. Fireworks by Katy Perry gets my song of the year.
Well, at least you know now confidently that if you start to miss the song, you can just go to a fireworks show and it'll probably play in the back. It'll probably play in the background as like one of the song choices. I know that it was for 2011, 12, 13, 14. Like many years later, every fireworks show had that song.
It has to have that song, unless you're in Disneyland.
Yeah, that's true. It has to have that song. You're right. So that was 2011. A bit of a quieter year for pop, for sure. But I guess moving into 2012, we'll kind of see the result of that. So 2012.
Wait, did we do 2011 album?
That was in 2011.
The albums?
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. Yes, you're right. 2011 album. Sorry. Before we move on,
it's fine.
Getting a bit ahead of myself. So my honorable mention for 2011 albums goes to Bon Iver by Bon Iver, like his self-titled, basically.
Okay.
And that's my honorable mention.
My friend. We have a match.
We did it.
We have a match.
It's honorable mention, but
my honorable mention for 2011 is Bon Iver, that ended at 100 that year.
Literally snuck its way.
We have a match.
Okay, nice. One match in the honorable mention section. All right, I'll take that for sure.
All right, so what's your album of 2011?
So my album of 2011 is Doo-Wop and Hooligans.
Okay.
Bruno Mars.
Yeah.
Number 12 in the year. And we can talk about his latest releases all we want. Obviously, it's Bruno, right? strong releases every single time. This album was the predecessor to Unorthodox Jukebox,
Right.
and it was the album that put him on the map initially. Not his, I wouldn't say his claim to rising fame just yet, although there were a couple of bangers in there for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
But peak Bruno Mars doesn't come till much later on. But it's a predecessor of Unorthodox Jukebox. And this album was the love child of the Smeezingtons, which is like his production group. It's like writing group. And it's the same team that was responsible for CeeLo Green's FU as well, which was like massively successful, right?
Right.
So Bruno and his team was responsible for writing that song as well with CeeLo. And what I love about this album, and why I think it got album of the year for me, is because it was a fusion, and I love fusions with pop. And it was a fusion that, again, was not very popular at the time. It was not really done the way that Bruno did it. It was a fusion of like reggae, R&B, rock, surf, like these ode to older styles that, you know, you probably wouldn't think about pulling into the pop world.
Yeah.
And he did it. And he did it in such a playful, cool way that I think was so important for pop music in order to grow its diversity in songwriting and everything like that. And this was like, again, this is like Grenade, Runaway Baby, Lazy Song, Marry You, Just the Way You Are. Like these are pretty heavy hitters for the time.
Yep.
And I think just that adaptation of older styles, especially reggae, into his music is very important for the time. It was very cool. It was very well done. And that's why I think it got album of the year for me.
It was close to being my honorable mention because what you said, bangers everywhere,
left and right, up and down,
left and right, pop hit after pop hit.
Yeah,
this album was significant to me because, of course, it's like my first taste of Bruno Mars. You know, it was the first taste to what would become my favorite food. You know what I mean? That's what it felt like. So the reason why it's not here is because I have Bruno all over my list going forward. Fair reason. I decided, you know what? I don't need Bruno in all, like every single time he releases an album. I'll space it out a bit. Yeah. So just judging it from the year, I'd say Bruno should be there. But just judging it from his entire career, that's kind of why I didn't place it.
I understood. Completely understood. Fair enough.
Right.
So what's your album of 2011?
You know what? We would have had a match, but you decided to disqualify it for some reason. 21 by Adele.
Yeah, 21 by Adele, yeah.
It's number one of this year.
Yeah.
It is number one technically.
It is number one. It was number one.
And it is the album of the year.
Yeah.
This, to me, honestly, this is like when Adele reached her peak. In terms of popularity, in terms of listening, people kept listening to her every day. You have Set Fire to the Rain, you have Rolling in the Deep, Someone Like You. And you know, one thing I realized too is that everybody learned how to play an Adele song.
Yeah.
Everybody, doesn't matter. Most probably it's Someone Like You, but everybody learned how to play it. And people would sing along. It doesn't matter where you are. You know what I mean? You could be in the middle of the mall with your guitar. If you play that song, people will sing along. It doesn't matter if they can reach it or not. They will sing along.
Doesn't matter. Yeah, that's true.
Number one album and my top album for 2011 is Adele, 21.
And again, the only reason I disqualified it from the list is because that was too easy for me.
Right. No, I understand.
It was way too easy. I saw the list of 2011 albums. As soon as I saw 21 at number one, I'm like, what album this year would beat that? That's way too easy.
That.
That's way too easy. I'm not putting that as my number one. That's way too easy. And yeah, that album ages beautifully. Songwriting, perfect. Peak Adele. I love that album to bits. I love almost every single song on that album, and especially my favorite being. Oh my god, I can't believe it. It's my favorite song of the album. I've listened to it yesterday and the day before, and I'm forgetting its name already. Say Goodbye, I think it was.
Okay.
Yeah, Say Goodbye. But anyway, okay. So
all the songs, awesome. all the songs just like hurt your heart when you listen to it.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing that's so powerful about it is that when you listen to it, you feel something.
Yeah.
Which is not the case for all songs.
No, you're right. And it's just it's her expressiveness, instrument choice, songwriting
Everything.
choices. Yeah, it's
Everything. I learned how to play the piano, like again, because of someone like you.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And then when I
It's
played
inspiring.
it, people were like, "Oh my gosh, you know how to play that song? Can you teach me?" Like that was the reaction people had with that album. All right. 2012. 2011.
All right.
Any final thoughts in 2011?
No, we just move on straight on to 2012.